That's fun. This feels like almost like a power ballad. The way it just ramped up like that. Oh shit, we're getting up. Here we go. Lazarus rising from the dead. They're back dancing again. Let's go. Wow, this is my favorite today. Easily. This was so good. This is so adorable. Look at her. Wow, I love the strings coming in my left ear. That's so nice. We love a good dance and an opening ending. This feels rather eerie with the keys kind of unsettling. Hi guys, welcome back to the channel. This is me from the future. The intro that I recorded for this stream that I did apparently got cut off, so yeah, I just had to do a little intro here. So I have since checked out this entire list. I have recorded it, obviously. This is me from the future going back and doing an intro. First up, thanks for checking the video out. I hope that you guys enjoy what's coming up. There are 10 total endings within this list, and who knows, maybe there are a couple of openings that were not in the previous openings list that are in this here. So, you know, there's maybe a couple of little bonuses that you guys might enjoy. I'm sure if you look at the description, you can see exactly what it is. I'm sure if you look at the thumbnail, you might be able to figure out what it is. But yeah, really exciting stuff. And yeah, I hope that you guys do enjoy this one. This was a lot of fun to check out. And I thoroughly do love checking out these openings and endings live on stream. So if you guys do want to check out the stream at some point, please check out twitch.tv/Jasmer, or you can just click the link that is in the description below. And yeah, I try to go live at least once a week. I've been really trying to do that lately. It was very difficult for a while I was checking out 3 series all at once, but now that I'm back to ReZero and SennaRin, you know, 1 episode a week for SennaRin, things are a lot more manageable. I can definitely do these streams a lot more. This one was an absolute blast. I hope that you guys enjoyed. If you do, please leave a like and subscribe and comment down below letting me know which ending was your favorite that is in this list. And yeah, let's just dive right into this one. Here we go. I don't know what we're going to get today. I suspect we're going to get some of the same series that we got in the previous list, you know, with stuff like Apothecary, Diaries, Gundam, maybe One Piece, and just stuff like that. I think we're probably going to see some of the same series that we saw in the previous list. So let's see what we get here today. Here we go. Gundam! We're starting with Gundam once again. Here we go. This feels fun already. Oh wow, it's the same style as the anime itself. It's not like a unique ending style or something. That's fun. Is she painting her toenails? They look like really fun characters. I bet there's a bunch of Easter eggs in these frames that I just don't recognize. Oh no! So they do live together, so I wonder if they're like childhood friends or something, or what the deal is. This is fun. I feel like this is a really good way of showcasing the two characters' personalities and stuff. Oh, the sun peeking in through right at the end. My guess as to the two characters, the way they are and stuff, my guess is that this girl, the purple-haired character, is a lot more kind of chill, and she's a lot calmer, and she's not as intense and crazy as the red-haired one, because the things that we see her do are very like calm, collected, you know, like she's knitting, she's just taking phone calls, she's tending to the fish, just stuff like that. Whereas the red-haired one, I feel like we see her kind of like in a more goofy style, like the way she paints her toenails is very goofy looking and stuff like that. You know, like we see purple hair drinking tea, whereas when purple is looking after the fish, she's actually tending to it. When red is looking after the fish, she's like sleeping. And yeah, I just imagine they're two completely like different characters. You know, Red is just, I want to have fun, I want to do what I want to do. Maybe I could be completely wrong here. I'm literally just basing off of what I see in this opening, this ending alone. Whereas the purple one is definitely seeming a lot more mature, I guess is a better way of saying it. Like, you know, look at what's happening right here. This is the ending for Mobile Suit Gundam GQuuuuuuX. The song is I Do Not Care by Suisei Hoshimachi, a VTuber from Hololive. That's crazy. Is this the first ever VTuber ending or opening that I've ever checked out on the channel? I feel like it could be. Feel free to correct me if it isn't the case, but yeah, that's a first. And this was a really fun one. I really love this one a lot. I feel like you can see that the two characters are kind of bringing different sides out of one another, it would seem. Red-haired one over here is getting purple-haired one to... I feel bad, like, calling them red one and purple one. You know, it looks like the red one's bringing the purple one into, like, a more fun environment. You know, they're singing and stuff. They're kind of, like, being silly and goofy towards the end. I'll see if I can find a frame of that, like, right here. I guess the way they dress as well even kind of indicates their two personalities, where purple seems a lot more reserved. And I'm not saying that red is carefree or anything, but she does seem to have a bit more of like an outgoing style, if that makes sense. Whereas purple is very reserved, wearing like long everything, always like covering herself up and stuff. I think that it's a really nice insight into the way the two characters are. You know, you can kind of learn from the way they dress, the way they act around each other. Red Gundam? Oh no. Oh dear. They do, well, I'd say they do. Red here does pilot a red Gundam. I wonder if purple pilots a purple Gundam. And of course, is it a Haru or a Haru or Haro? That is like the mascot of Gundam, because I think it's really cool seeing it wearing like this beanie that we see our main character, the red one, wear within the opening. So I kind of guess that when she's piloting the Gundam, she wears this beanie, and it's cool to see that in the meantime the Haro wears it. I'm just trying to see if I can pick out anything in these frames. Izuma, is that the name of the place where they live? We see the guitars, playing darts, stars. I did notice that in the lyrics at the near the beginning there was mention of what I really wish for the stars. So, you know, there's mention of stars, there's imagery of stars here. So I wonder then if that means that... I don't know who this is talking about, whether it's red or purple who kind of wishes for the stars and wishes to be amongst them. I imagine it's red, because she does seem like the more outgoing, more carefree one, and the one who wants to actually like live a life and be free. But, you know, they do look like they have a really cozy home here. Oh, there's a little, I'm guessing it's a dog, because this looks like more of a dog print than a cat print, I guess, that, you know, stereotypical, unlike the tissue box. But yeah, this is a really fun one. I think these characters do look like a lot of fun. I love that this ending really just focus on them within a single area, kind of showcasing what they get up to within a single day. And that's really fun, because the one ending that this kind of reminded me of from last year, but I wouldn't even say it was like a close comparison, but you know, it did kind of bring up similar feelings, would have been the ending for Kaiju number 8, you know, with the really fun little chill groovy vibe setting within a single room, following like a single character. This obviously following two characters, just showing what they get up to within a day. I think that this is kind of reminiscent of that, I guess. It was wild hearing Suisei here. You remember watching them stream Among Us in 2020? Never would have imagined they would sing an ending for Gundam. That's crazy. Yeah, I am really far removed from Hololive and just all of that stuff. I couldn't tell you a single Hololive member or anything like that. I'm very unfamiliar. I understand that it's a group of VTubers and stuff like that. I don't know what they really do, what the whole deal with them is or anything, but this is a really great insight and a great introduction to, you know, Hollow Live kind of works, because this was a really fun song, and this is easily one that I will be listening to when I finish stream. I really vibe with this. I think it was a really fun introduction to this stream, this video, and yeah, I really like this one a lot. So this was a great way to start this off. I don't really know if I have much more to say about this one, because like I did say, it just takes place within this single room, and it kind of showcases, you know, their personalities and stuff, and the way they are. Even the way they eat pizza kind of, you know, shows how different they are. Purple is very, I would say, classy, but she does have like a crumb on her cheek, but like that's normal. But she is eating it with two hands, you know, kind of taking her time, being careful with it. Whereas Red over here is just straight up eating that good shit out of a Goofy movie, you know, with a stringy ass cheese, pulling the cheese out and everything like that. Yeah, I feel like they are so completely different, and I imagine it makes for a really fun dynamic when you're watching the series. I'd be interested to know if I recognize voice actors for either of these two characters, because yeah, I feel like they would be really just interesting dynamic and fun dynamic to follow, because my guess is at the start of the series they maybe butt heads, but as the series goes on they learn to get really close to one another, and they really just come to appreciate each other and, you know, really love spending time with one another. That's my guess anyway. But yeah, this was an absolutely fun ending. I don't know what this little guy down here at the bottom is, the little robot that we did see at a couple of points, who looks like a block with, you know, the early 2000s shaders on. I do know the voice of one of them. See, I kind of had a feeling. My guess would be, you know, Purple, because I feel like Purple would have... I'm kind of picturing her voice. I can't even think of a character, but I can kind of picture how she would probably sound. I think I'm going to move on to the next one. This was a great one to kick things off. And yeah, let's check out what we get in ending number 2 for this video. Here we go. I wonder what we're going to get to follow up that great ending that was Gundam's I Don't Care. So here we go. Look who it is, it's Mama. This does feel a lot slower than the opening we got for the series. Is she looking longingly, or is this kind of... Yeah, she does look rather down. I feel like we've never seen Mama like this in any openings we've seen before or anything. Where's the kitty? There it is! She's chasing it. This feels like almost like a power ballad. The way it just ramped up like that. Who are you? You're at the top of the pyramid here. Oh, they look like really fun characters. Are they all like tasters, whatever that's called? Like, you know, they taste the food. Aw. They stand out amongst all the others. That was a really random way to end that. It felt like it shouldn't have ended like that. That was really interesting. This is the second ending for the Apothecary Diaries Season 2. The song is Monologue by Omoinotake. I remember struggling so hard to pronounce this during the recording for where we checked out the Blue Period opening. Omoinotake. Yeah, I remember struggling. I had to cut out like 20 failed attempts to pronounce it. This is the second ending for the Apothecary Diaries Season 2. The song is Monologue by Omoinotake, who did the Blue Period opening. That Blue Period opening was really fun. It was a really nice one. And this ending was really kind of ballady. This felt like almost like a power ballad. But yeah, the ending was kind of abrupt. It caught me by surprise. Like, it feels like it should continue. I don't know. Like, it just felt like it ended in a really strange way. And I think it's really cool seeing that we start the opening and end the opening in probably the same scene, you know, with Mao Mao leaning into her elbow, kind of looking sad, looking a little down. She's looking away, and then she eventually buries her head into her elbow at the beginning of the opening, or the ending, sorry, like right here. But at the very end of the ending, we see that she is surrounded by her friends. She's surrounded by her friends as she's doing this, and they're here to kind of try to cheer her up. They're trying to lift her spirits and, you know, welcome her to, like, or not welcome her, but, you know, help her get through whatever she's going through. I don't know what she's actually experiencing here, because anytime we see Mama, she seems to be a really, you know, kind of not necessarily, she seems to be the character that doesn't really take hardships to heart, I guess. Like, I don't know, like, I remember you saying, Pinecino, when we checked out the very first opening, that she was kidnapped and sold to these, like, royals and stuff, and I was like, wow, that probably really damaged her. That's probably, like, a key part of her character and how she acts and everything. And you were like, nah, she kind of just takes it in her stride. So that, to me, like, obviously told me a lot about her character. And wait, I forgot to turn chat on, oops. That told me a lot about her character, and that kind of told me that she would be the kind of character who just takes life as it comes. So seeing her down like this, it's really kind of, like, surprising to me. I didn't think we'd ever see her like this. I wonder what has her like this. She low-diffed she no-diffed the situation more. Like, I can't imagine she's the kind of character then, seeing her like this, who doesn't actually feel those things. Like, maybe on the outside, maybe the way she acts kind of seems like she doesn't take any of that to heart. You know, she doesn't, like, really get affected by any of that stuff, but really deep down she maybe does. Maybe everything has been mounting up at this point, and this is kind of where she gets to the point where she's just kind of defeated. She's done all this stuff. She was kidnapped, taken away from her mother. She was put through all this stuff. Maybe the will they won't they with Jinchi has kind of got her down, and you know, I don't know if they ever will, if they ever won't, or anything like that. I just kind of theorize based off of what I see in the openings and stuff. But you know, maybe there's just something that happened within this arc, within this part of the series, that just has kind of broken her in a way, and that's really upsetting to see, because she has been a really positive, I want to say a positive, I don't actually know, because I feel like we don't really see her exuding positivity, but she does seem like she's like a rock, like a stable character. So seeing her like this, just it sucks. But it's really nice to see that she seems to have really nice friends, and like a lot of this ending kind of just shows her by herself. You know, the first, like, half of this ending almost, well, the first 30 plus seconds anyway, she's kind of by herself, and then her friends start to show up as she's walking through this area. You know, it's kind of like as she's experiencing all this stuff within this royal palace and everything, she starts to get close to these people who she calls friends, I'm sure. And the way they pop in, you know, one at a time, kind of maybe suggests the order that she becomes friends with them. The silly one who has the little, what's it, like a pork bun or something, or red bean bun, whatever it's called, who's at the front here, she seems to be the really bubbly, energetic, full of life, just like silly character of the group. And then the one behind seems to be the one who's maybe taken a lot more to kind of get close to. Like, she seems to be the kind of character who maybe doesn't let people in, doesn't exactly become friendly with people easily. But once it shows this scene where they're going up, and it shows them all, like, she's the only one who's kind of looking away. I think Mao Mao and the other character are looking at us, and she's the only one who's looking away. So it's almost like she is, it's not always there in the moment, in the present. She's always thinking about something else. There's always something else on her mind. There's something grander, something bigger that she's dealing with, that she's going through, and her friends are helping her through it. But that doesn't mean she's not still there when her friends need her, and we see that right at the end of this ending, which I think is really nice indication of the kind of friends that the three of these are. Also, I love her hair. I really like this hairstyle, like just the kind of wavy look and everything. I think it's a really cool hairstyle. And then the scene here where we do see them all lining up and everything, Mao Mao and the other girl, the silly one, they smile at each each other very quickly, and the other one that I was suspecting is the more serious, or the one who has other stuff on her mind and goes through other stuff, she's kind of like staring at us for quite a while before she eventually smiles and looks away. But she's got the biggest smile of all, and I think that that's probably also like a part of her character where, despite the fact that she maybe doesn't smile as much, or she maybe doesn't go through as much, she is the one who brightens the room more than anyone else when she is happy. She really picks up the spirits of everyone, and she's just like this really positive character when she is like, I could be completely wrong here, maybe I'm completely mischaracterizing them, but that's kind of just what I feel from this. And yeah, that's probably all I really have to say about this. It was a really fun song. I really like the kind of ballady sound to it, you know, the way it started off like in a slower sense, and then it just really crashed up and it really picked up and it got really intense towards the middle section, you know, probably around the chorus and stuff, and then it just like ended really abruptly here, and it left me longing for more. And I wonder if that's kind of indicative of what we see in the ending here as well, where there's no concrete answer. We don't really get the answer as to what's happening. We don't get the answer as to whether they actually cheer her up. We don't get an ending to the song. I wonder if it was an intentional thing or something like that, or maybe I'm just looking into things too much. Maybe this doesn't actually sound as abrupt to other people as I think it does. You'll have to let me know if you feel the same way. But yeah, this was an incredible ending. I don't know if we've really actually checked out many endings for this series. This might be the first. I can't remember. I could be completely wrong here. I feel like we have checked out at least one or two. But yeah, this was fun. You're on the right level. They don't move a lot in this ending, but anything they do does refer to something. I get it. Okay. I guess this is all kind of relevant to the series itself, because, you know, the Gundam ending that we checked out right before this, it was just silly, goofy, fun times. I don't think anything we saw there was really telling us any story beats or telling us what they go through within the story or anything like this, but I think that this one kind of is more so telling us a little more, but it's not really going to great lengths to tell us that. Like, you know, visually, obviously I think the Gundam ending was a lot better because it was actually doing more visually, whereas this one, it's kind of like still shots that are panning and everything, or just like, you know, walking shots. Like there's not a lot going on, but it is like a really nice ending to see just how close these three are. I'm glad that Mama has these friends, because yeah, they do look like really good friends to her, and they look like these three really do stick together, and they really do help each other out here, especially in this world where they're all kind of going through the same things, where they're all working, they're all being put to work, and they probably all experience the same things, taken away from their families and everything. Maybe I'm wrong there, but I think I'm maybe ready to check out the next one. That's probably all I'm gonna say for this one. Ending number 3, here we go. Alright, so let's check out ending number 3 for this video. Here we go. Oh shit. Oh, it's Fire Force. Oh, this looks cool. This is ink. Watercolor, water painting. This is so cool. Is that a baby main character walking along the bottom? Wow. I kind of wish this main part at the top was kind of taking up the whole screen. Those two by themselves there. Oh? This is kind of reminding me a little bit, not exactly, of that one Haikyuu ending. Or is it an opening where, you know, it's kind of just panning along? Wow. I really like the song. I really like the visuals. Like I said, I just kind of wish it was taking up more of the screen. But our main character is walking by every single one of them here. Oh shit, who's that guy there with the horns growing out of his eyes? He grows up right as this hand reaches out across this guy who, you know, I've been saying since like the early openings that I checked out a long time ago was his mentor. You know, the one that wears the eye patch, the one that's on the screen here, like to the left here. He grows up right as it shows him. So I wonder if that's kind of telling us that it's around the time he meets him that, you know, he grows into this role of Fire Force fighter, because, you know, he's wearing a cape and everything like a child the entire rest of the opening, so it's almost like he wants to be one of these people. Around the back it does look like they kind of have capes, but they're very short capes. I don't think they are capes, but you know, he probably sees these firefighters as superheroes and stuff, and so he wants to be one of them. It's probably his childhood dream or childhood goal, whatever, to be one. And so as he grows up, he meets this guy who trains him, and then he falls into his role as firefighter. What's the main character's name, by the way? If that isn't a spoiler, I can't imagine it is. Like, what's his name? You know, the guy walking along the bottom the entire time? Shinra, gotcha. Oh, Shinra! Oh, Final Fantasy VII. That's crazy. What does Shinra mean? So Shin is new and Ra is... I don't know. New fire, who knows. I think that it's really cool seeing that, you know, he's walking along, experiencing all this stuff. I wonder if everything we see at the start of this this ending is kind of telling us what happens before he becomes a firefighter, and then it's kind of the transitionary period after when he grows up to showcase all the characters he meets, all the characters he becomes firefighters with, and everything like that. This is the first ending for Fire Force Season 3. The song is Uru-siren by UmedaCypher. This is a really cool ending. I really like the rap set, like within this. It really flowed really well, and the beat in the background was just really fun to like kind of vibe out to and, you know, bump your head to and everything. It was a really cool song. The visuals as well, like I said, so cool. I really love this. Meaning heart, mind, soul, then silk. Shinra is a gender neutral name of Japanese origin. For Final Fantasy VII fans, the definition of heart, mind, soul. Okay, shit, I thought it was like gonna be like new something. The ending visuals did remind me of a few different things. One of them being, I think it was the like an ending for Haikyuu, you know, where it's got this really beautiful artwork, but it is just a single shot that's kind of being panned along from right to left. It's reminding me of that. Yeah, the one where it pans across all the teams. But it's also reminding me of, you know, some stuff like the endings 1 and 3. I know it's not the same at all because one was using, I think it was like painting on glass or something like that, or I thought it was sand art the whole time. Endings for Mob Psycho 100, you know, with that kind of like look and everything like that, and also that one ending, I believe, for Dr. Stone, I think it might be ending 5, where it's using sand art. You know, it's reminding me of some of that stuff, and I love that so much. Those are some of my favorite visual endings that I've seen, period, full stop. And this is, it's such a shame, and I really don't want to bash this because it is so beautiful, it is so cool, it's so creative, and I really did love the visual look of this. But man, if this had been full screen the entire ending, this is one that I would think about a lot. But the fact that it's the top half, it kind of like bums me out a little. Yeah, I know the credits have to go somewhere, but like they could have a little white patch at the top right. They show the credits as they're showing everything else happening. Like, I don't know. I just feel like this could have been one of my favorite endings today, but sadly it might not quite reach that echelon just because visually there's not really anything going on for half the screen, and that's kind of a shame because anything that I do see, I love, I adore, I think it's so cool. And yeah, I think that this is one of the most visually fun endings I've seen in quite a while. It's just a shame, like I'm saying, like I'm definitely making this into a bigger deal than it actually is, but it's such a shame that, you know, a lot of the screen is kind of taken up by just, you know, credits along the bottom. But, you know, it does actually show, you know, Shinra walking alongside all of that too. I wonder if at the end he kind of reaches the right side. No, he's staying on the left the entire time. I guess you can kind of see who's important and who isn't here, because, you know, it shows some characters in the forefront and some kind of in the background. You know, you can't really see them at all. But yeah, this is making me wonder then if these two were kind of like rivals, the two up here. The main guy who I think was our mentor, who kind of flipped on us. I imagine the reason he kind of suddenly went against us is not necessarily like a black and white type of thing, where it's not like he went from good to bad. I imagine there's other motives and there's other reasonings as to what he's doing, and I can't imagine he just does it for the love of being evil or anything like that. I 100% believe he's probably like doing things for the good of everyone, though he's taking on that villainous role. That's kind of what I imagine he's doing here, and whatever it is related to this guy who holds up the Joker card. You know, Joker and that grin that he has, you know, it does seem very Okubo, you know, where it just seems like it fits that style. Like, this is very Soul Eater-esque, I think. And yeah, I do think that this is a really, really fun ending, and I love it a lot. I wonder what this, like, reaching out is, though. Maybe this is the reason he's suddenly not with us, because whatever it is, this hand that is covered in bandages, the arms and everything as well, reaches out. This, like, black skull thing appears, and he's reaching out across you know, the guy who looked to be like a mentor or something. So yeah, that happens, and then this character shows up with a scythe immediately after. I don't know what it's about. I imagine it's telling us quite a lot here, but you need to actually know the series to really understand what is happening here. But yeah, other characters come in, they kind of start mogging the camera and stuff. This character back here, I don't know if you know the one I'm talking about. He's kind of like the one who you can kind of barely see. I'll see if I can find a frame where he's kind of more in frame here. This one here that's kind of like centered a little to the left. I know he's got long hair and everything, but kind of reminding me of like an Oda drawing more than Okubo. It looks almost Zoro-esque, I want to say, which I think is interesting. But yeah, you get to see all these really fun looking characters, the way they're introduced, the way it shows them in such different lives and different styles and everything. This guy right here is reminding me of like someone you would see from Persona or something. Like I'm imagining a Persona character, but I don't know Persona well enough to even tell you who I'm thinking about. I love seeing who mogs the camera, who can kind of do what, who seems to be the fun characters, who seems to be the serious characters. There's far too many to kind of go through. The MC of Catherine, I think you're right. Yes, that is it. Another Atlas series. It wasn't Persona at all, but yeah, that's definitely, I think, who I'm thinking about. That's really funny. But yeah, seeing who can do what, seeing who does what, seeing who seems to be fun, seeing who seems to be serious, everything like that. Ida, once again, ripping out the gun. This character here who's turned away from us, faced away, who then suddenly unsheaths their sword and comes to attack us, mugging the whole camera, and then kind of just showing up here. They seem to be MC2. I think that this character here, I think I remember them like using like a light sword in the first couple openings, and I thought that they were going to be like a villain character because they seemed to be someone we were fighting, but I guess this is like an enemies to friends type thing. I almost said enemies to lovers, but I think this is probably like an enemies to friends type thing where he comes to our side and, you know, he becomes our friend, question mark, someone that we can rely on, someone that we fight alongside to take down the forces of evil, and that force of evil being this character who is the one that is covered in bandages and has the horns growing out of their eyes. He's voiced by the same VA as Subaru. That's fun. He's probably really loud, brash, and obnoxious. But yeah, seeing this character on the right, the one I'm just seeing as well, they have a tail. That's strange. But this character on the top right here, I used them as for the thumbnail for the first opening video that I did for Fire Force. It was Shinra, I think, in the bottom left, and then this character like coming looking down on them, and I thought it was a cool image and I used it for the thumbnail for Fire Force. So seeing that they're still present up to now, like, you know, they seem to be the overarching main villain, I guess, of the series. That's cool. And also, I could be completely wrong here, but something about this design of the character in the top right. It has been a while since I saw Soul Eater, but it's reminding me almost like, what is it, like Asura? That character who was like sealed away for like I don't know how many years or something like that. It's kind of reminding me of that. I honestly have completely forgotten everything about Soul Eater apart from, you know, main character moments, some of them anyway. So yeah, just I guess it's another Okubo special. I'm past your Soul Eater knowledge. Well, my knowledge is very minimal. I just know a few different things about the characters and stuff. I remember, you know, Death the Kid being very symmetry, OCD, and just like silly little things like that. When I watched Soul Eater, I felt like the ending was very rushed. I know I'm not the first person to ever say that. The anime anyway, there were a lot of characters that were introduced like 10, 15, 20 episodes prior to the ending who literally did nothing. They went nowhere. Main characters, like I feel like Black Star, I could be wrong, didn't really have any payoff moments or anything like that. I just remember kind of being disappointed, but you know, I still had a fun time watching it. I think it was an alright series. I think it was fun. But yeah, Fire Force looks to be completely different. It looks to be very, very action oriented, whereas obviously Soul Eater as well has a lot of action, but Soul Eater spends a lot of time in that school area. And you know, there's a lot of like nothing happening for a lot of the series, whereas, you know, this does seem to be very different. It seems like a complete switch up from Soul Eater, but you know, what do I know? All I've seen are openings and endings for Fire Force, so I could be completely wrong here. And I say endings, I haven't even seen the other endings. This is my first Fire Force ending, so you know, if you want to see that video where I check out the other Fire Force endings, let me know. It won't be hard for me to do. It's only like 4 endings, so you know, I could do that really easily. So just let me know if you want to see that. You will make a PSA for anyone watching this that has been watching the 3rd season but hasn't finished it yet. Get to that last 5 minutes of the last episode. That shit is crazy. Yeah, I do remember you posting in Discord yesterday saying that it had maybe one of the top moments of the year already. I'm so glad. Kicking into the final half of season 3, the final season of Fire Force, there's going to be a lot to wrap up and there's going to be a lot of intense action moments. So yeah, let us now move on to ending number 4. Like I said, incredible song here, really fun visuals, and yeah, let's see what we get in ending number 4 here. Let's go. Real quick though, before we move on to the next ending, I was listening to Paper Moon yesterday while I was editing, and I was just thinking the whole time, I was like, wow, this is probably one of my favorite anime songs of all time. Paper Moon, of course, Tommy Heavenly Sakes from Soul Eater. It is such an incredible ending and I love it so much. All right, let's check out ending number 4 and see what we get in this one. Here we go. Windbreaker. Oh shit. This green. I guess they wear green. Maybe that's what the green represents, because they show green a lot in that opening too. Wow, look at that eye. Love the eyelashes and everything, the detail. Wow, that was so cool. Shades of My Hero Academia ending 1. Is this real imagery or is this animated? Can't really tell. It looks so good. Oh wow! Eren Yeager scream? Damn, he looks like he's really going through it. This is so nice. This is not what I would have expected from a Windbreaker ending, but this is really nice. Wow. Everything is shattering. They're reaching out to fix things. And he's got to depend on his friends, and that's probably what he learns in this season. That was a really nice ending. That like, I really like the opening for this season as well. So this has just been an incredible opening and ending for Windbreaker this season. This is the ending for Windbreaker Season 2. The song is It's Myself by Shytaupe. A couple of things, like this scream right here did remind me a lot of Eren Yeager's scream during Rumbling opening. It's not fair to compare the two, but you know, that's where my mind immediately went to there. The way that its visual style was done was really cool because a lot of the backgrounds and everything, I know that it's probably all actually animated and it's all drawn and it's all generated and everything, but you could almost mistake a lot of these kind of visuals for being real. Like the way the ground is and everything, it looks almost like they just recorded a ground, like an actual floor, and just shone light on it. The sections here where he's running, these mountains look real and everything. This cliff side and everything, like, it looks real, but also like I don't know how they would have recorded this with that kind of lighting. But yeah, it looks incredible. It's so visually beautiful and it's so like character oriented that I love it. I loved that I learned a lot more about, I do believe his name is Sakura, as a main character than I have in any of the openings and endings, because in the openings and endings showcase him but also show a lot of the other characters and, you know, fighting and everything like that. So this ending actually focusing on maybe the heart of the series and the fact that this is maybe an arc, maybe a season of our main character Sakura here actually learning to accept and allow people to come in and, like, you know, break him down. And I think that's what kind of like the showcasing the two like glass orbs symbolized, where like one orb is breaking down the other, and that's him being broken down. I think that it's all about him and he's being broken down, and then eventually like you see the hands reach in with the orbs and kind of pull him out of the funk that he's in, the groove, and kind of help him to be a more full person. Like he's able to no longer be this really brash, hard-hearted person, like cold-hearted, just, you know, cold person. He's learning to allow others in. And I think that this whole ending was all about that. It shows him by himself a lot, looking out towards others and everything. He's got really dull kind of colors, but you know, like when he's present, apart from here where we're starting to see the daybreak and everything, I'll talk about that a little later, but you know, when he's standing in the doorway, everything is dark behind him. Well, actually it doesn't start with that, but yeah, actually there's light behind him, but everything is dark, and he's reaching out, and you just then see all these others standing out here looking very cool and everything, you know, with this green light behind them. The green probably very symbolic of their clothing, because they do wear green, and green is a very present color in this series, but you know, it almost strikes me as a sickly green, and it really throws me off that they use this kind of shade of green. It makes me feel like uneasy, but I don't think that's what it's supposed to be. I wish I knew what else green could symbolize, because all I can think of is like a sickly green, but it's probably supposed to represent something else. It is kind of like a soft color, I guess, so maybe it's to indicate that these guys, they're not like brash, they're not aggressive and everything like that. Cloverworks kind of always goes crazy with ending visuals. Yeah, kind of reminds you of Healer in Final Fantasy XIV. That's funny. Yeah, actually that's right. Green is also representative of, like, you know, a kind of like healing color, you know, like anytime you see like green crosses for like ambulances or like ERs, you know, hospitals and stuff, they're green. Within video games, you know, there's healers, there's healer classes, and you know, their heals are normally always green kind of oriented. You know, I could think of Kingdom Hearts. Cure is green. You know, the green is also like, yeah, it's a really present color in terms of healing. So yeah, that's a really good call out, Pinecino. That's actually really clever. I never would have picked that out. I just would have been stumped the entire time. And I think that that's what this is about in the series. You know, he's looking out towards the green and he sees this. And I remember in the ending for this season, he kind of has this water cupped in his hands, and it's the shape of a heart, which I only noticed while I was editing. I didn't notice while I was watching it or anything or analyzing. It's the shape of a heart, and he splashes it on his face as it's green. So, you know, it's kind of like he's trying to heal himself. He's trying to wake himself up, trying to wake up into this role and everything like that, that these others have fallen into. You know, they all already seem to have accepted their role, and they all seem to be friendly delinquents. You know, like you can see some of the classic delinquent haircuts here, you know, all the way on the left, all the way on the right. You know, it's just classic delinquent hairstyles, but they're friendly. They don't, well, maybe they're not all friendly, but they don't do things unless they have to. And I think that's part of the message here, because Sakura, he just wants to mess shit up for probably no reason, because he thinks that's what being a delinquent is. But part of that of being a delinquent in a group is also familial. Like, granted, I haven't really seen any delinquent series or anything, but I imagine that within these delinquent series, characters, while being, you know, really they're also really friendly, and there's this sense of family. Like, you'll have to correct me if I'm wrong here, Pinecino, but, you know, this series seems to take that sense of family a little further and kind of make it almost like the main draw of this series, opposed to, you know, the big fights and everything like that. It seems more character driven than action driven, is what I'm trying to say. And yeah, this was an absolutely stunning ending. I really did like this one a lot. This is maybe one of my favorites so far. Like, I love the visuals. I loved the song as well. The song was so beautiful. The song was so fitting for what I was seeing here. Let me go back and see what he's actually screaming along to. Oh, the heart that never sleeps is when he starts singing along, it seems. So it's almost like, you know, he's singing about himself. He's singing about his always racing heart. Is always like, he's always just thinking about other stuff. He's trying to achieve other stuff, but he never gives himself time to calm down. He never gives himself time to slow down. He never gives himself time, full stop, because he's been made fun of from an early age. And so he thinks now that he is of a certain age, it's time for him to fit into that role. But part of this is learning that doing that is kind of like being by yourself. You know, you're just always drowning. You're always by yourself. You're always watching others reach up to the skies and actually live their lives and everything. You know, the lyrics, always I'm chanting, it's myself, but even for myself, doubts increase and tears dry up. Like, these lyrics are really, really sad, and they're really touching. They're really melancholic, and also kind of like beautiful that, you know, he's recognizing this stuff. And this song is about our main character himself. With Windbreaker, the protagonists are kind of particularly nicer than across the genre. The whole community aid angle playing into that. Yeah, I imagine so. And, you know, I think that that's a beautiful thing. I love that this is taking a genre that a lot of people might be familiar with and doing something new, doing something original with, you know, something that I don't know if it's really been done before. Like, again, I'm talking about a genre I know nothing about, but, you know, I imagine that nothing's really been done like this before. At the beginning, he's like really close to the other characters, but once he reaches out, he sees the distance between him and them. And I think that distance is very important, because he is recognizing that distance, and they're all kind of looking at him. You know, they look at him like they're ready for him to join them, but it's all about when he's ready, not about when they're ready, because they're already a group, they're already a team. And then that same shot is kind of repeated at the end here, where once they reach out and make him whole, you start to see them all kind of file in behind him again, and it seems like they're much closer as he opens his eyes, and it does seem really nice. It seems like a really beautiful, really nice ending. This series ran in the same magazine and after Tokyo Revengers, where you will say the main gang is a bit more rough with each other by comparison. Yeah, I don't really know anything about Tokyo Revengers. I think I've only seen like one opening for Tokyo Revengers as well. I don't know if there's more. I don't know if there's another ending, or if there's endings that I never saw. So I guess I haven't really learned a lot, because what I learn about these series for the most part is either through like just context clues of being online, or through these openings and endings that I check out. Having two different delinquent series running, you know, one after the other, it could kind of make one more polarizing, you know, especially if people love Tokyo Revengers. This one might be pretty polarizing, and it might not be what people are looking for, but that doesn't mean it's not for everyone. The fact that this is a popular series goes to show that the writing must be really good here, and you know, it must be a series people love. But yeah, also like the day breaking here, kind of cool, because, you know, it shows that there's this peak of light, there's this indication that there is the chance for him to reach that other side, reach that potential that he has. But most of the screen is this darkness, but it is slowly fading into this daybreak here. So I feel like that's also very metaphoric and very relevant to what he is experiencing and going through within this opening, ending, everything like that. Windbreaker Season 2 had maybe one of my favorite opening and ending combo because but then again, we have more to check out. But yeah, this might be one of my favorite opening ending combos by the end of this year, because this was so good. This was a really great ending, and I love that opening as well. But yeah, let's check out ending number 5 and see what we get in this next one. All right, so let's check out ending number 5. I hope I'm right here, and see what we get in this next one. Ooh. Oh, I love the artwork already. Don't know what it is, but it looks cool. Is this Lazarus? I'm seeing pills. Is this showing all the dead people who took the pill? Nah, I think this is the group who fights. The visual look of this is so cool. It's reminding me of, like, is it No More Heroes or something? Game series I've never played. Beyond the Sky, Bonobo, featuring, I didn't see who that said. Oh shit, we're getting up. Here we go, Lazarus rising from the dead. I love that trumpet. I hope it's a trumpet. Damn. And then the white feather falling right at the end there. This is the ending for Lazarus. The song is Lazarus by the Boo Radleys. Did I read that completely wrong then? I thought it said like a different artist altogether. Yeah, this was a really, really cool ending here. I love that it was kind of like making me think that during the opening for this series, there was like a bunch of shots of them falling. And then within the ending, it's them all lying on the ground. So it's almost like the opening and ending tells you a story, but I think that might be a stretch. The opening's kind of telling you that the humans, everyone's falling, everyone's at the whim of this like drug, you know, like everyone's kind of being, I don't know what I'm trying to say, but like it seems like, you know, humanity is falling. And then the ending itself, it shows everyone literally down. But then that's when right at the end we see, as the song suggests and as the series suggests, Lazarus, who rises from the dead, who comes back to bring life back to humanity. That's what the series is all about. It's about bringing humans back to life. It's about, well, not back to life. They're not dead, but, you know, saving them from actually dying because they have less than a month left. Yeah, I think that it's a really cool concept for a series. Like I said, I think it's a really cool concept for an ending. It definitely does go to show or go to emphasize that whole idea of, you know, Lazarus coming back from the dead and all that. Like, it's very on the nose. It's very, like, it's definitely not trying to do things secretively. Like, it's very present. It's very much telling you what it wants to tell you. I don't really know, though, what else to learn about this. Like, I think it's cool seeing that everyone's lying down, you know, with all these pills around them. You know, I can't remember the name of the drug or anything like that, but obviously that drug is the reason they're all down, and, you know, you can see it surrounding all the characters. Even our group of characters who are in the Lazarus task force, they're all down, and I think that's kind of just, I don't think it's literal. I don't think it's telling us that they're gonna die. Maybe some of them are. I think it's more so just kind of to show us those characters that we know and love within the series itself, within the ending, and kind of metaphoric, you know, to symbolize the rest of humanity who will die if they don't succeed here. I think that it's almost like telling us that if they don't succeed, it's not just the humans who have taken this pill that will die. It's also like probably going to be everyone, because, you know, humanity will crumble, and that's probably more so what this is telling us. I don't really know though, because yeah, like I said, there's not really too much going on here visually. It's got a really cool visual style. I don't know what it's exactly reminding me of. It is reminding me of like maybe a No More Heroes or something, but it's reminding me of something else that I can't quite pick out. I wonder if this is kind of like the look of the series itself, obviously without all this intense shading and everything. You feel like the ending has become far more thematically resonant as the series has become far more thematically resonant as the series has went on. You're increasingly interested in how the series will end, as it is quite where it is quite where you thought it was going, or it isn't quite where you thought it was going. I couldn't even begin to think where the series would go, because it strikes me as something very unlike Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo, which is more kind of episodic, where every episode, you know, it doesn't necessarily follow the main thread, the main story or anything like that. The episodes just kind of happen, and then there every so often there's like an episode that links into the overarching story or everything like that. This looks more like the kind of series that is entirely about following that main story. It doesn't look like it's gonna really take any breaks or anything like that. So I honestly couldn't even begin to tell you what I think this would be like. Bluntly, you're feeling they might legit fail in there, and this alludes to it in their mission. Really? I think that would be a really grim and interesting way to end a series, because Cowboy Bebop, spoilers for anyone who hasn't seen it, the Cowboy Bebop ending is also very depressing. You know, like, nobody really comes out of that thing happy. Like, Ein is probably the happiest character in our main group to come out of that, because Ein gets to stay with Edward. He gets back up, no worries. I'm even talking about like Faye and Jet and everything like that. I feel like nobody really comes out of that series happy whatsoever. It's all just like depressing, and it's like a really grim ending. It's like yeah, there's some series I've seen that kind of do have those really just brutal endings, and I feel like Cowboy Bebop is kind of one of those. It's not really like brutal in the sense that you come out feeling really down and depressed. Like you feel down and sad, but like this one definitely, going off of what you've said, Pinecino, and going off of this ending alone, this does look very scary. Like, I wonder if right at the end of the series, it will literally be just our main character kind of walking around alive. You know, like, I don't know. Space Dandy does have a bit of a kooky ending too, really. Is that just Watanabe special then? Just to have this ending that just kind of leaves you like, oh shit, okay, damn. The visuals in this ending kind of like, they do have me worried. I thought that it was kind of more just thematic of what it represents, what they represent, and everything like that. But yeah, if this does go in a dark direction, I feel like that would make this series stand apart, because you probably go into this series kind of like with the expectation that they're gonna get to the end, they're gonna solve everything, and everything's gonna be okay. But what if they literally get to the end and it's kind of like a Walking Dead type situation where there's no cure? There's literally no cure, and it's just about adapting beyond that, adapting beyond the point where all of this shit happened, where all this is just something you need to live with. Like, what if that's kind of what the series is? And I think that it would be a really, really cool and special way to do that. Do I think that it will go in that direction? Probably not. I still right now believe that it's going to go in a kind of like, here's your happy ending kind of direction. But if it doesn't, that would honestly probably make this more appealing to someone like me. Not that I need doom and gloom or anything, but, you know, looking at the series, it's kind of just like, okay, it's a task force who's going to succeed. That's kind of just like what I expect the series to be. I'm sure they go through plenty of hardships. I'm sure they go through plenty of bullshit, but ultimately in the end, they're probably going to succeed, in my mind anyway. This really fuzzy filter effect that's playing across the entire ending as well kind of gives us a really unique feel to it, because, you know, this fuzziness, it's definitely making me feel a little uneasy or something. Like it's making everything seem more distant, like I'm watching a TV opposed to characters or something. Like, I don't know, it feels more like I'm actually watching a television, and it's kind of distancing me from what I'm seeing. I don't know if that makes much sense, but yeah, that's kind of how this like fuzzy filter makes me feel anyway. But yeah, like I wish I had more to say about this because I really love the song. I loved the kind of idea of what this was representing, but realistically there's not really much to talk about with this. I think it was a really cool song. The song itself is definitely one that I'll probably listen to outside of this. You forgot to mention this ED is directed by Mai Yoneyama, who did the Edge Runners ending. It also had a very particular look to how it portrayed the characters compared to the main series. Like this also kind of had that same vibe. Interesting, yeah. That's really fun because Edge Runners, the ending, yeah. If I'm thinking about the ending correctly and not the opening, the ending's the one that focuses on, I think Lucy, her name was. That was a really cool visually looking opening. It also looked a little unnatural, much like this one, you know, like where scenes where it's showing like her, I think, walking down like an alleyway. Like it might not have been as unnatural as I'm trying to think back. Like it's hard for me to think back and to try to remember it, but yeah, that did look a little off or something, and you know, I could kind of see that here as well. But yeah, no, it beautifully directed, might I add. Like I'm not like bashing the visuals or anything like that. It's just like there's not really much for me to talk about here, and I kind of like base a lot of what I talk about on what I see, and you know, there's not really a whole lot to talk about here, so I think I might be ready to move on to the next one. That was 9 months ago. Yep, that was 9 whole months. Crazy. But yeah, let's move on, I think, to number 6 and see what we get in this next one. Let's check out any number 6 and see what this one brings for us. Let's go. Oh shit, is that Loser Ranger? This is cool. I like this a lot. Sentoin D. Wow, look at this. That's so cool. Oh no. 6 more lives. Is this telling us that there's 7 of them in their little group of grunts? Damn. This is so cool. They really went all in on this ending. They're back dancing again. Let's go. This time with a DDR feel to it. Look at that style, the polygons. Holy shit. All your BS belong to us? Game over? Question mark? Is it time to give up? Wow, this is my favorite today, easily. This was so good. The visuals at the beginning, I immediately thought of the recent ending for Shangri-La Frontier, but this took things in a much better direction. The Shangri-La Frontier one was literally just them walking the entire time, whereas this one is so good. This one kind of gives us an idea of like the hopelessness of what they're trying to achieve. These grunts, they're trying to break out of this cycle. They're trying to break out of, you know, this kind of being forced to entertain, being forced to do all this stuff, being forced to make the other people look good, the so-called heroes and everything like that. They're kind of being pushed and forced to go through all this no matter what. Like there's always a game over question mark, but no matter what, they have to continue. And I think that part of that is kind of telling us, like, you know, when they keep trying for the first half of this opening or ending, sorry, where they're trying, but then it gets to the point where they just kind of accept that they have no choice but to entertain, but to do whatever they're being asked to do. And that's when they start dancing. It's almost like they're being told what to do in those moments, and they're actually fulfilling what it is. There's no more fighting, there's no more trying to break out or anything like that. This is the ending for Ranger Reject Season 2. The song is Revenge Match by Fukurow. Note, game themed endings are kind of a cheat code for engaging visuals like the Dorohedoro Doom one. Yeah, absolutely, that's true. I forgot all about that Dorohedoro Doom opening, or ending, sorry. Such a great ending that was too. And this one though, I feel like really went in a lot harder than maybe that Dorohedoro one, and especially the Shangri-La Frontier one. I feel like this one really spent a lot of time kind of setting up a scene. Like even this right here, I can't even tell you what it is this is reminding me of, but this is like a visual almost from like an actual game, and I can't think of what it is. Like the closest I can think of is Final Fantasy VII, you know, looking up the Shinra building, but that's not what this is. It's actually something else, and I can't think of what it is. But regardless, like I think that the whole ending being really visually fun like this is just such a cool way to do it. I really did love this so much, and there's just like so much packed in here that are little references to other things and stuff. You'll say the title is the shape of the Dragon Quest logo. Then you get to see this as well, where they don't even get their own names. They're not even unique characters. They're just ABCD, like, and they're being controlled. They're not in control of their own actions. They're being controlled. They're just characters that are being used. And that kind of like, you know, is shown throughout the whole thing, where, you know, we see them lose their lives no matter what they try to do. They're trying to accomplish something, but they're dying anyway. But this guy right here, the guy who is shooting the gun, I thought this looked like one of the main characters when they're wearing like the white, but I guess not, because, you know, obviously they're wearing green. It's completely different. This is obviously very Mario looking. I don't know what this looks like. Maybe like Mega Man or something. I don't know. This, I would say almost like Sonic-esque, but probably not. I'm just trying to pick out all the references. What is this, like Ghouls and Goblins or something? Like, yeah, it's just so fun. Maybe this is like Mega Man. I don't know. I just wish I could pick out all the references. Please, like, feel free to drop all the references in the comments below, because it's really, really fun seeing this. And yeah, I really did enjoy this one a lot. That is Mega Man Death. Yeah, it's just like F-Zero or something. I don't know enough about like these old school racing games to know what it is. Of course, Underwater Mario. Actually, I don't know, because there's a chest. Who knows? Bonus stage, Sonic the Hedgehog. And then we're transported to this bonus stage where they're dancing and everything. And yeah, it's such a fun way to tell us the nature of this series, where they're not in control whatsoever. They're literally being controlled 100%. They are doing exactly what someone else wants them to do. They like, even though it shows presumably our main character playing the game right at the end of the ending, it's showing that even when he's playing himself, it's futile. Like, he can't even control himself. Like, he's got no control over his own actions, even when he does, if that makes sense. But this was a really fun ending. I think that this is maybe going to be... I'd be interested to see what we get throughout the rest of these endings, but this might be my favorite ending of this list today. This was such a fun one. I love the visuals. I love the song so much. It was so good. And yeah, I guess, as Pinecino said, video game themed endings like this are an absolute cheat code. They're immediately engaging, they're immediately fun, and they're immediately interesting, I guess. And you know, they captivate you, they hold your attention. And even this one, like the way it showed all these different styles, even like during this dance, you know, it's showing like a PS1 style almost here, going into like, I don't know what this would be, like PS2 almost. And then this is just kind of reminding me of like Just Dance. I don't know why. And then I don't even know what this reminds me of, but it's really cool and it's funny. But yeah, this was an absolutely crazy good ending, and I bet the lyrics as well kind of also talk about this idea of futility, and of course, you know, having a reference to, you know, all your mates are belong to us, if that's what this is. Iconic. The only other reference I could think to all your mates are belong to us in anime is of course from Steins Gate that we watched, we finished not long ago. But yeah, what a great ending this was. Even like when it's showing actual just straight up I think 2D animation here. I think this is 2D, even though I know that the opening and ending dealt with 3D animation for the first opening and ending. I feel like this looks more 2D than 3D here, unless it's just like really great looking 3D. The way this is animated, it looks so fluid, it looks so goofy, and it looks really... This is 2D, okay, that's what I thought. It's so good, like... I don't know, there's just something about it. It looks incredible, and yeah, I have so much praise for this ending right here. I honestly, I'm so glad we checked this out. This was one of my favorite endings by far that I've maybe seen this year. Probably going to rank in my favorites by the end of the year. And yeah, let's see what we get in this next one. I sadly don't feel like I have a lot to talk about here for this one. I just, I feel like it's kind of repeating things I talked about within the first opening and ending. I'll link that below for the series. I feel like I would just be kind of repeating a lot of those same things. So instead of doing that, I'm just going to move on to the next one. So here we go. On to bonus number 1, apparently. We're getting a bonus. I don't even know if it's a bonus ending, but it's a bonus. So let's see what we get in this next one. We'll get right into this next one. Here we go. Bonus number 1 for this video. Let's see what we get here. That's Aunt Shirley! Is that the Anne of the Green Gables? Oh, this is cute. This feels very fitting. Aww. She just looks like such a ray of light, which I think is the whole point of this story. The visual look of this is almost reminding me of like Apothecary Diaries or something. This is so adorable. Look at her. Oh, look at her blushing. Wow, I love the strings coming in my left ear. That's so nice. Aww. Oh shit, look at her. She got buff? What was that? I know she didn't get buff, she just got older, but like, it looks like she got big ass muscles. Yeah, she got older, but she got the same hair. Some things never change, huh? This is Aunt Shirley, produced by the Answer Studio, which is staffed largely by former members of Disney's animated division based in Japan. Really interesting. I will say, before I read anything else that you said here, I know that we checked out the Anne of Green Gables opening for like from way back when, I believe, and when we checked it out, it did have a very, you know, kind of like that old school look to it, where I would almost say like things looked almost Ghibli-esque. And within this as well, like something about Aunt Shirley, the way her face is drawn, the way some of the other characters' faces are drawn, it almost is a little reminiscent of that old style of the older Anne of Green Gables series. And I think that's cool. Like I think it's nice to see that style in a sense. Like it doesn't look exactly like it, but there's times where they move and, you know, you kind of see like similar looking features or something. I don't know, maybe it's just the big ass forehead that Aunt Shirley has. Maybe that's all it is, you know, with her tiny ass fringe cut. Based in Japan, which worked on a lot of the direct-to-video movie sequels. Directed by Hiroshi Kawamata, character designs by Kenichi Tsuchiya, Garden of Words, music by Michiru Oshima, FMA03, Tatami Galaxy, and Buchigiri, that's cool, and based on the classic novel series by Lucy Maud Montgomery. It's almost as if the minds behind the 1979 anime went to found Ghibli. Yeah, I know, but you know what I'm trying to say. I think it's nice that it reminded me of that older opening or that older series. The song is Yokan by Tota, with the opening animation directed by the legendary Naoko Yamada, K-On, Hibike Euphonium, and a silent voice. Are those all series done by Kyoto Animation? Yeah, they're all Kyoto Animation. And Naoko Yamada, do they typically work on openings, or are they like an animator for like the series themselves? Because the animation in this opening was honestly like breathtaking. I loved it so much. The direction was incredible. I loved seeing just the happy-go-lucky like attitude and positive energy that Anne Shirley exudes. I'm not super familiar with this series, and I might have said it back when I checked out the opening for the older series, the 1979 anime, but my familiarity personally with this series is I was helping my sister-in-law build a bookshelf, and by helping I mean she wanted to do it all herself. She just needed help with a couple of things, and so I was just out there kind of helping. And she had Anne of Green Gables, or not Anne of Green Gables, Anne with an E, I think it's called, the Netflix series on TV. And you know, I wasn't necessarily watching it, but when I was watching, it was really like just heartwarming. It was a really heartwarming series, and you really just got to get this sense of positivity within the series. It's not a series that's about like, you know, all of these bad things happening or them trying to overcome a certain thing or like these villains showing up or anything like that. It's literally just a coming of age story about this young girl who has been orphaned. Like, it's really genuinely a beautiful story, and I know that there's a reason the novel series is so beloved and has been adapted so many times throughout the years. Like, there's an obvious reason, and I'm just so glad that this anime series, from what I've seen from this opening, looks to be beautiful, looks to be created with love, plenty of care, plenty of attention, and plenty of just detail, and even just going as far as having the direction of this opening be the way it is, where it's showcasing all of these things that make the series kind of like what it is, with all this beautiful positivity. You will say the 1979 series is one of those anime that brutally murdered you in the feels. Yeah, I feel like a lot of coming of age stories do tend to, you know, have this really emotionally driven story, I guess. I know not all coming of age stories are like that, but like coming of age stories do tend to also like make me feel a certain way as well. I'd be wondering then if this is going to complete the story, or if this is going to be like the first season of Anne Shirley. Like, maybe there'll be a season 2, maybe there'll be more, because I would love for this series to actually give a complete story, because I'm not sure if the original series did. I'm sure it did, but you know, I know that for fans of the Netflix series Anne with an E, it definitely didn't get an ending, and a lot of people were very upset by it. Of note, the 1979 anime adapted only the first of like 6 novels, whereas this has already gone beyond that. Interesting. I hope it doesn't seem like it's rushing then, but even then, if it feels like it's kind of rushing, you can kind of like treat this as, I know you said the music was done by the person who did the music for FMA 03. You can kind of treat this as the FMA Brotherhood to the 1979 03 FMA, you know, where you check out one and then check out the other. One kind of maybe spends more time on the first novel, and then this one kind of goes beyond that. You're about to make that comparison? That's funny. I need to talk about this opening. I'm glad you included this, because after watching this, like, I know there were already 13 openings in that opening video, and so going further than that would have been like a push, you know. It would have been a very, very long stream, very, very long recording and everything like that. But I'm really glad we did check this one out, because this is honestly definitely ranking in like one of my favorites that we have checked out for this season, simply because it is just so feel good. It made me feel so happy. It made me feel so good inside, and the song as well was just so positive. It, like, I know that you already listed the singer of this, or like the artist, but for the first like 45 seconds, maybe longer, I can't remember, it was reminding me almost of like Lila Sakuta's voice, but I knew it couldn't have been, because she's already done an opening this season with Witch Watch, you know, Yosobi. The 1979 show was iconic enough within anime, at least in Japan, that you think they expect viewers to have seen it already. This one was one that pained you to cut. Yeah, I can imagine. But at the same time, I'm really glad you included it today. I wasn't expecting it. Yosobi would have gone crazy for sure. That would have been so interesting. The only old series I know of that we checked out was Yaiba. Again, I don't know if it had an older anime series. And if it did, I thought maybe you would have included like the 4Kids opening or something here, or 4Kids ending, just something like that. That's what I thought you meant by bonus, because the last time we did bonus was Shaman King, I think. The 4Kids opening for it. In terms of visuals, it's got like this kind of paper cutout look, which at times would just reminded me of like one of the openings, I think, or maybe it was an ending, I can't remember, of Spy Family. It's been a while, so I can't exactly picture which one it is. Yaiba did have an older series, so you haven't seen it. Okay, interesting. The correct opening for Shaman King, of course. Starting off with her kicking her feet, you know, it's already an indication of the character of Anne Shirley. Like, if one of, like, I'm about to say something crazy here, but like, hear me out, alright? But if one of us in modern day, one of us watching this video right now, if one of us was to be isekai'd or like put back to this era, we would be like lost. Like, what will we do? Like, our entertainment is gone. Like, you know, there's no television, there's no Wi-Fi, there's nothing. We literally just have to enjoy life for what it is. And I think that that's kind of like a huge, I want to say, selling point for this series, where Anne Shirley, despite everything she's been through, despite everything that she has gone through, despite everything, she is a positive character. She experiences life for what it is, beautiful life, and she's always like entertaining herself. She's always finding things to have fun with. And yeah, I know that she grows up on a farm here as well, like when she's fostered or adopted, I don't know, like maybe she's fostered and then eventually adopted. I don't know kind of what the series does with it would be the Shirley family, right? Because she's called Anne Shirley. You'll be trapped in the terrifying hellscape of rural Canada. Oh no. Where was the snow in this opening? Oh, you'll throw out the summary now then? Okay. An orphan with poor luck in finding a good home, Anne Shirley possesses both an incredible capacity for imagination. Okay. Yeah, that's maybe a better way of putting everything I was trying to say just then, where I was like, yeah, she looks like she's always finding ways to have fun and everything. Her imagination being, you know, yeah, that makes sense. And a proportionately short temper. Really? I would not have got that from watching this opening whatsoever. And when I was watching the Anne with an E series, or like what little I saw of it, I didn't really see her with a short temper. I just saw her kind of like as a character who was very stubborn and very sure of herself, and she knew her worth, and she didn't let people walk over her. You mean she's ginger? Yeah. Okay, you got a point. One day she's adopted. Okay. One day she's adopted, not fostered. So you're answering that question by elderly siblings. Oh, siblings, they're not even a couple. Okay. Marilla and Matthew Cuthbert, only to find out there was a mix-up as they had requested a boy to help with their fields. Taken in by the girl's colorful personality, they decide to keep and raise her as their own. That's beautiful. And that's really interesting that they're siblings. I thought for sure they'd be, you know, a married couple. Like, I thought that was the whole point. You know, it's a married couple who adopt a young girl. I love that story so much because, yeah, it makes sense that they would want a boy for their fields to farm and everything. And I feel like this is reminding me of reading the analysis, or not the analysis, the little description you get for the 1979 series. I feel like, you know, a lot of this is something I've read before, but and I'm just being reminded again because, you know, forgive me, I have been reading a lot of these descriptions. I've seen a lot of openings and endings between then and now, so, you know, I can't remember everything, but yeah, I love the idea that they wanted a boy, but they were just so captivated and taken in by this young girl that they couldn't help but decide she was the one. Sometimes, you know, the idea of going to, like, forgive me for this comparison, this sounds awful, before I say what I'm going to say, I am not comparing Anne Shirley to a dog here. That's not what I'm trying to do here, but it's like when you go to like a kennel or a shelter or something, and you're going to adopt a dog or something, sometimes you don't choose the dog, sometimes the dog chooses you. That kind of is what this is making me think. You know, it's kind of like that idea of like, they chose a boy, but this mix-up meant they got this girl instead, and this girl is almost like the one that chose them. Like, it's almost like a flip on them trying to choose who they wanted. Instead they got someone else entirely, and it's not so much that they decided to keep her, because that sounds awful, but it's more so that Aunt Shirley being who she is what they grew to love. And yeah, I think it's a beautiful thing. I'm really surprised by the fact she's got a short temper. I did not know that at all. I probably said the exact same thing when we checked out the 1979 series, but yeah, like, it is so fun, like, just seeing her the way she is and everything. Like, even if she's got a fiery temper and everything, she looks like she is so fun. She looks like she is such an incredible character, someone who just changes the lives of everyone she comes across, not just the Cuthberts, also, you know, all these other characters that she sees. She, like, I just think it's so funny that, you know, she picks up this this plate full of flowers, like, I don't know what that's about, and she sits it down in front of her adoptive father, I guess. And yeah, like, just her being taken in by the beauty of the world, seeing all these flowers, seeing literally just the beauty of this whole rural Canada that she is seeing. And this shot of them being on the carriage is definitely reminding me of the 79 opening, where, you know, they're on a carriage the entire opening, and it's very magical seeming where it starts flying and stuff, but this time it's just following them on a simple carriage ride. Like, it's only like a little 5-second segment, but I can't imagine this wasn't inserted here as a little like Easter egg almost for fans of the 79 series. Like, it does kind of strike me as that kind of thing. And yet, oh, excuse me, she is just such a positive character that I can't help but be captivated by her and captivated by everything she does. You know, she's strolling through the snow, Canada, of course, and even these little like animals that are in the snow are peeking up and looking at her and everything. Like, she just captivates anything and everything. And flowers are growing here as she's walking past the pigs and everything. She's just walking with so much confidence, and everything just looks to be so, like, I don't know, it just looks such a fun series. She is bowing down to everyone, she's taking this guy's hand, she's doing silly little hand gestures to people, and while she's getting twirled around by this guy who I can't imagine isn't the guy she, you know, likes. That's just kind of what it's making me think anyway, because the way she grabs her cheeks and, like, it's almost like, oh my god kind of thing. She just quickly moves on and starts dancing with her friends and everything. It's such a beautiful, positive opening. I can't imagine this isn't a series people are loving right now. Like, this, even though this might not be everyone's cup of tea, you know, some of the some hype beasts out there who only watch action shonen probably wouldn't really have the capacity for this, or have the mental, they might not enjoy this as much as others. But this does look like a beautiful series, and obviously this opening kind of indicates that we get to watch her grow up, because we do see shots of her looking older, like this shot and a shot not long ago, and then of course showing right here where it's like they're getting photos taken of them standing alongside each other, and then it shows her a lot older right after. So yeah, I don't know why they made her arms look so buff here. It's a really interesting choice, but yeah, I think it's really beautiful that we get to see her grow up within this series. I think that it would be a really, I imagine this is a really beautiful story, and I imagine that this is one that is really gripping everyone right now as they watch it. And yeah, you'll have to let me know how you feel about this. And yeah, I'm so glad we were able to check out this opening, because this was amazing. I really do love this opening so much, and this is one of my favorite openings that we have checked out. And I this does actually like surprise me that you didn't include it, but then again, there's nothing that I could imagine cutting from the previous list. So yeah, I guess it's just going further to emphasize what I said at the beginning of this video, where I said in the intro that this was such a strong list. This is just yet another huge cap for that. But yeah, we're going to move on to the next one. We're going to check out ending number 7 and see what we get in this next one. I feel like I talked for like 40 minutes about this ending, so we'll see what we get when we check out this next one right now. Here we go. Let's check out ending number 7. After that bonus opening that we just checked out, let's see what we get in this next one. Here we go. Is this Vigilantes? I see those ears. The crawler. Oh, that's so cute. I see what you mean by those thick black outlines. Wow, look at her, just a normal person until she puts on the mask. And she paints it on, she doesn't even like wear a mask. Oh shit, has he got like the Jotaro special where the whole thing kind of blends into his hair in the back? Did we see this character in the opening? What's happening here? It's such an interesting quirk. It's such a funny quirk. I love the idea though that these vigilantes hide their identities, you know? Because they don't want to be caught. But yeah, those thick ass outlines really give it a good comic book feel. And the way they're looking at it, I hope that they are able to take down that drug gang or drug whatever it is that they've been chasing this whole time, because this looks like a really fun ragtag group of characters. Knuckle Duster looks very brash and very hot-headed and just ready to throw hands, whereas, you know, the other two, like, I can't really get a great feel of them, because our main character looks like someone who just, wants to be a hero and kind of just like is enjoying this life, enjoying what he does and everything. Whereas, is it Pop Step? I can't remember her name. She's a really hard one to get a grasp of, because when we see her performing, when we see her in her kind of quirk ways, she's very fun and she's full of life and she's full of energy. But when we did see that little glimpse of her like as a human just walking normally and like looking up to the skies, almost wishing for something interesting to happen, and then when we also see her putting the makeup on, it's really kind of like interesting that it's almost like a persona that she puts on. Is almost like a facade when she steps into the role of this hero, you know. It's almost like reminding you of old school Western comic books where they are completely different people when they're in their real life as they are to when they are, you know, in that superhero persona. Think Bruce Wayne and, Batman. Very different characters, unless, you know, it's the Robert Pattinson, special. But I think that it's really cool seeing the characters here, seeing the way they maybe are outside of vigilante work, seeing the kind of human side of them, seeing the core of who they are, I guess. Funny enough, after recent events, she has the same voice actor as Ubel. Really? That's really cool. And Kita, of course, from Bocchi the Rock. But yeah, that's really funny. I guess, yeah, I wouldn't have known that back when I was watching the opening. I had only seen the recent episode for Freerin a few days back. This actually kind of leans into the classic superhero style than the main series in a way, with this particular group to focus on. Yeah, I love that so much. It's definitely very, like, to compare it to a superhero group, you maybe compare it to like the Defenders, neighborhood based, you know, like it's they're within a certain area and they like work with each other within this area, opposed to like something like the Avengers, who work together, or Fantastic Four even, who work together on like cosmic level bullshit, you know. Like, this is definitely much more Defenders, much more, you know, small group, literally just focused on trying to achieve their small goals. You know, they're not trying to be these heroes that people talk about. Imagine though, if they ever are talked about, it's probably exciting for them to see their names in newspapers or anything like that. Knuckle Duster's like increasingly Batman by the episode. Oh really? Every episode he becomes more Batman-esque. Are we not going to talk about the fact that his bandana thing kind of pulls a Jotaro? Like, are we just going to skip past that? But yeah, I imagine that, like, for these characters, it's probably exciting. Like, there's probably times where, say, our little character here, what's he called? Like, the Crawler, our main character, if he was to take down some bad guys or do something, and it was known that it was him that saved someone or did some good, even just, like, something small, if his name was to be put in, like, a paper or something, I imagine that it would be very exciting. It would be something that he would really love, and it would almost like push him to want to do that again or something. To see that praise, see that acknowledgement of his good deeds and everything. And it's maybe also the case for these other characters here, where they like seeing that, but obviously being vigilantes, they had to be careful. If they get caught, they could get in serious trouble. And I wonder if they ever do get caught and they're kind of given warnings and everything, because that would make for really interesting dynamics if they have these constant run-ins with like the police officers or stuff like that. I think that would be a really funny thing where, you know, it's almost like forgive this reference that not everyone's going to get, but Carmelita Fox and Sly Cooper from the Sly Cooper series, where at the end of like every level, you know, Carmelita Fox shows up and, you know, you kind of have this really flirty relationship with her, with like the law and everything, where you like don't exactly fight her. You're kind of just running away and you're being very, you know, silly goofy with her. Like, I don't know if they have that kind of, not flirty relationship, but like this relationship where they don't hate the police or anything. The police doesn't hate them, but they know they're doing something illegal, and so they know they have to get out of there, and they have this really funny dynamic relationship with police officers or anything. Maybe there's actually none of that in this series at all, but I think that a series like this dealing with vigilantism kind of probably should deal with something like that. It would definitely be a lot more real, a lot more realistic, I guess, and add levels, add layers to this story situation, I guess. But yeah, we don't see any of that within this ending. What we do see though is kind of like what we saw in I think the opening, and definitely openings for My Hero Academia anyway, where you see this kind of pop art style little circles, little dot things, and that's obviously very, once again, reminiscent of like old school comic books, reminiscent of like an older generation, I guess. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, the song is really fun. It's really poppy. It's got a lot of like fun energy, and you know, you can't help but like bob your head along. You can't help but swing your body, swing your hips, whatever you're doing. Like, it's just a really fun song, and I think that accompanying the opening, it does a great job. I wonder if this little green flame is part of Knuckle Duster's whole thing. Also, this character is shrouded in mystery. I can't remember if we saw them in the opening at all, but the fact that it only shows a little of their face, it looks like they're wearing an eye patch. They look like someone to keep an eye on. Pun unintended. They're wearing an eye patch. I'm not making fun of them. I just mean that they're probably someone who we should probably be wary of. They don't look exactly trustworthy, but maybe they're just a kind of troubled character who we take along, become friends with, or, you know, we eventually create a relationship with. Maybe it's that kind of character, but to me, this is kind of maybe showing a villainous force, or like someone who isn't exactly our friend or something. But I could be completely wrong there. I'm wrong on a lot of these things. I expect to be wrong here again. They were there for like a split second in the opening. Interesting. I guess I've forgotten that split second then. Sorry, I don't know if I even said it, but this is the ending for My Hero Academia Vigilantes. The song is Speed by Yutori, and yeah, what a great song this is. What a great visual look this is. I love it a lot. I think that it does a great job of kind of more so showcasing how the series probably looks, because this definitely looks more like what I would expect you see within the anime series itself than the opening did. The opening was a lot more artistic, I would say, where it had like these moments of like silliness. I don't know, maybe the opening also is kind of reminiscent of how the series itself looks, but the ending itself definitely looks like how I would imagine this to be. And I love that, you know, we get to see like I said it during the opening, but I really think it's cool seeing that within the series, our main character is also a huge All Might fan, because it's going to show that there are a lot of them out there. I know Bakugo and Deku are among those huge fans of All Might, but seeing that other heroes like Deku base their whole look, base a lot of, you know, their heroism stuff on All Might, I think that it's really cool to show us that, because All Might is the #1 hero. All Might is what the world needs almost, you know, like he's the face of heroism. He's the face of you know, this kind of positive attitude, smiling while you're fighting and everything, like saving everyone with a smile. Like, he's what the people need. And I imagine our main character here tries to base a lot of what he does off of those lessons from All Might. But yeah, I don't think I really have much more to say about this. I might be ready to move on to the next one, on to ending number 8 for this video. I did love this one a lot. I love the visual. I love the song. Another really fun one. And yeah, I think that Vigilantes has great opening and ending, and I commend them greatly for that. On to bonus number 2. Another opening perhaps from 2025 spring. Who knows? We'll see in just a second. I'm gonna drink some water. You guys should do the same. All right, let's check out the second bonus that we will be seeing within this video. Here we go. Big steps. Apocalypse Hotel. Excuse me, I'm just gonna pause real quick because this looks low quality. I'm just gonna make sure it's on. Okay, sorry. I'm gonna wind it back. I'm gonna keep this in the video though. Please forgive me for this. I hate doing it, but it was just the quality looked a little off to me. Okay, we're seeing it again. Apocalypse Hotel. A little dancing. We love a good dance in an opening ending. This feels rather eerie with the keys, kind of unsettling. But she looks so positive, she looks so fun. She's the only light in this dark world. This Apocalypse Hotel. Okay, now the keys sound better. Them all dancing. Are those like Tanuki people or something? Are these like robots? Are these like the workers at the hotel? She's so fun. She's so cute. Look at her dancing. That's really cute. Take a bye. There it is. That was a well-deserved bye. That was a beautiful dance that you just gave us. And what a really fun ending, or opening. I think this is opening. I don't know. This is Apocalypse Hotel, an original series produced by Sai Games Pictures, who did Bravern, directed by Kana Shundo, scripted by Shigeru Murakoshi. Zombieland Saga, interesting. Character designs by Izumi Takimoto, an old school manga artist that worked on a few Sega games back in their heyday, this being his first proper anime work, and music by Yoshiaki Fujisawa, Land of the Lustrous, and Love Live. Song is Skirt by Aiko. I think it's an insight into how fun this series probably is, considering it's scripted by Shigeru Murakoshi. If they were the main person scripting Zombieland Saga also, because what I saw of Zombieland Saga when I watched that one opening, and from what I heard about it from like some of you guys, and of course Pinecino in the descriptions and stuff, it does seem like a really fun, silly, goofy series. And this one looked like a lot of fun as well. The main character here looks like an absolute ball of light, a ray of sunshine, and that's obviously being depicted at the very beginning, where she's in this really dark room, and she's the only one that has light on her. She is the sole thing shining in this world until, of course, you know, all these other things show up, these robots or like the staff. I don't know what it is. Like, I don't know if they're workers here or what it is, but the fact that they're wearing like little bow ties and stuff kind of makes me think that they probably are. And of course, these little things here as well, the humans, well, humans that we see, they look like Tanuki to me. But like human Tanuki, I don't know, like the first indication is the little leaf, the stripes in their hair, the big tail, obviously. So I'm pretty sure these are like Tanuki people or something, and that's really fun. In the future, a lethal aerial contagion spreads across the Earth. Really? And renders it uninhabitable for humanity. The survivors flee to space in hopes of one day returning with a cure. Meanwhile, the entirely robot-staffed Gingaru hotel operates daily in preparation for the day their human creators finally return. The concierge, Yachio, leads the hotel's upkeep and works tirelessly to accommodate any guest that arrives, be they human or otherwise. That is such a fun concept for a series. I really love that a lot, actually. It's obviously not fun to think that this aerial contagion has made humans have to go to space in order to live. Like, that's awful. But at the same time, I love the idea that... Actually, I think it's really sad, but I think I like the idea, but it is really sad that these robots have been working here tirelessly, day in, day out, keeping the place in good tip-top shape for the day humans return. I guess that's why the series is called Apocalypse Hotel, because this takes place after what is essentially an apocalypse, and you know, it takes place in a hotel. I wonder if Yachio here is human, because there's no mention as to whether or not she is. I imagine she is, so, because it says most humans, I think, or no, the survivors flee to space in hopes of one day returning with a cure. But that doesn't mean every human would have left. You know, surely some survived or some stayed here. And especially with your mention here that be they human or otherwise, you know, some humans also might appear here. So Yachio being like this fun little character who... You said the hotel was entirely robot staffed. Are you telling me that Yachio here, this human looking girl, is also like robotic? She's a robot? That's crazy. I thought she was human. No way. That's an android? Oh no. They're getting too good at fooling me, you know. I don't know what's real, what's not, what's artificial, what's android, what's anything like that. They're starting to get me. I honestly thought this was like a little girl who was running this hotel simply because it's kind of life maybe she grew into. I thought that it was probably that her parents either died or fled or something, and in kind of like a Home Alone type situation, she was left behind. She's remaining here with the only family she knows, which are these robots. But I guess that's wrong. I guess she is also one of them. But it's interesting that she's the only one who has like an outwardly human looking appearance. I wonder if that's relevant. I wonder if there's meaning behind that or something like that. Maybe it's to be more approachable for actual humans, because, you know, seeing robots might be a little off-putting or something, or strange, so they can interact with someone who looks, or something that looks to be human. Like, maybe that's the idea here. But she is, regardless, like an absolute ray of sunshine. She's so fun looking, and the song itself, I thought at points it felt a little out of place. But overall, I think it was a very fitting opening here, an opening song. It's not something I feel like I would go and listen to again, but, you know, I did thoroughly enjoy this ending, and I'm looking forward to editing it as well, because just seeing the way this whole ending plays out, it's just such an absolute fun ride. Yeah, I love that Cygames Pictures seem to create these really fun endings. Like, Bravern obviously had that really homoerotic ending that we checked out like within 2024, and this is the opening, forgive me, but yeah, my point is Cygames Pictures does create fun openings and endings. The opening for Bravern was also incredible. It was so fun. This looks like it takes the fun a step further by creating an opening all about, you know, dancing. Like, how many great dancing openings are there out there, endings are there out there, just everything like that, openings and endings. There are a lot, and this one is taking that brave step to join the ranks of, you know, great dancing openings, and I think they did a great job here. I think they hit the mark, and I think that it's a really fun insight into the kind of world that they have here. You know, the fact that we see like these Tanuki people kind of gives you an insight into you know, the kind of world that this is, where it's not just all humans or anything like that. Though I am surprised she is not a human. That really surprises me. I don't know if I have much more to say about this. It just looks like a really fun series. It looks like the kind of series that it would just be like, to compare this to another series, like not to the same degree, but almost Faulty Towers-esque, which is an insane comparison to make. But you know, it's kind of just like every episode is something new. Every episode is just like silly antics, wacky antics that happen within this hotel. Like, I imagine that's exactly what the series is. I don't think it's supposed to be the kind of series that has this overarching story. It would surprise me if it does, but you know, if it does, that's cool. I'm sure that once, you know, things start happening for that overarching story, it starts to get, you know, even more interesting and stuff like that. But this is a really fun one. I'm glad we checked this one out as well. Yet again, the 2025 spring surprises me so much, just how strong it has been. And yeah, I think I'm ready now to move on to the next ending. Here we go. Let's check out ending number 8. I believe this will be ending number 8 for this video, so let's see what we get in this next one. Here we go. Holy shit. This is ToBeHeroX once again. Hell yeah. Looks so cool. Energy change. It's a lot slower here. Wow. Is he gonna click his fingers? And suddenly there's color. The characters look really cool. I love the way they all are designed here. The character designer did a great job in these designs, honestly. To become, to be Hero X. What is that? Is that like a watch or something? On the throne. Who will sit on the throne at the end of the series? Apparently a feather. What does this feather represent? Who does this feather represent? Whoever it is that has this this little watch thing almost, like, I wonder if they will be the one to sit on the throne by the end of the series. This is the ending for ToBeHeroX. The song is KONTINUUM by SennaRin. Yeah, this was a really interesting ending because it's not like what I would have expected from ToBeHeroX. I would have expected, for some reason, ToBeHeroX, the ending to be yet another kind of like hype energy one, because from what I saw from the opening, it doesn't really seem like there's any danger for our main characters. Like, considering they're heroes, there obviously has to be some sort of danger or something. Like, there wouldn't be a need for heroes otherwise, but I just have never really sensed or seen the objective that they have. Like, I've never seen them fighting. I never saw anything like that. So I just think it's interesting that this ending kind of showed a different side, where it's like a more personable side. It's a more downbeat side. It feels like there are stakes, and it feels like things could go wrong here, because the characters did look kind of vulnerable within this ending. Not the guy who clicks his fingers. He didn't look vulnerable whatsoever. He just looked to be in control the entire time. Just like during the opening, he looked to be the one conducting the whole thing. He looked to be the one pulling the strings and like switching up the ending even. Like, yet again, there's that kind of like shift within this ending. Not as much of a shift within the as was within the opening, where, you know, he clicks his fingers and it goes to like a 3D style and like all of this other stuff. Like, there wasn't anything like that so much. It was more so just that he brought the world into color, and it's almost like he brings a lot to this world, and him bringing the color is almost like reminiscent of that and kind of showcasing that. I've forgotten what I was talking about because I got interrupted, so forgive me. He doesn't shift it as much as within the opening, but you know, here it goes from black and white to color, and I feel like I said that already. You know, it's almost like he brings the color into the world, he brings life into the world, and he's kind of like a central focus. He's someone that people look up to. He's someone that everyone wants to be around almost. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but it's almost like X is like an All Might type. At least that's how it seems anyway. I don't know if X is someone that we can completely trust here, because he does look to be very ominous at times, almost like I just don't know how much I could trust him, because, you know, even from this shot right here, he clicks his fingers and he's the only one who's okay. He's the only one that's falling down straight, whereas everyone's kind of like upside down and like falling in really awkward positions and stuff. Like, he's clicked his fingers, and it's like this this switch up where when he does that, he's the only one who's who comes out of it okay. It's almost like a worrying thing. Like, it feels like it's kind of like a warning that he's selfish and that he does things for himself. He doesn't think about others. I don't know. You will say in the Japanese dub, he does have the same voice actor as Okabe. That feels very, very fitting. At least he's listed as such, but he hasn't actually spoken. Isn't it like 12 episodes deep at this point or thereabouts? And he hasn't spoken once? Holy shit. That's crazy to get such a high profile voice actor to play the character and then just never have him speak. That's really, really, really interesting, actually. And I think that that's really ballsy, because that voice actor for Okabe, I could really imagine in this role, and really in the Hoin Kyoma energy, like that eccentricity, like I could really picture that here. Or just this really like stoic and just like I don't care kind of voice as well, which that voice actor can do really well. I think that's really cool. I think I couldn't think of a better voice actor for my view of this character, what I think about him, and just how I imagine he is within the series. Like, that does seem like the genuinely perfect voice actor, which makes it all the more surprising that he hasn't even spoken yet. Now that you remember, did he speak in the opening monologue or something? But also seeing these feathers flying around all over the place is interesting, because like the fact that feathers are here, there's no sign of birds or anything in these shots, it's almost ominous, like the feathers falling opposed to, you know, the birds flying. It's very ominous, and it doesn't bode well with me anyway. One of the other heroes also has the same voice actor as Mayuri. Really? Holy shit, it's a get together. Where's Kurisu when you need her? That's really cool though. I love that they brought the voice actress for Mayuri back together with the voice actor for Okabe. I'm sure that they had a nice little get together, a nice little catch up in the booths, even if X never actually speaks. I'm sure at some point they're gonna have to cross paths once again, and yeah, that's so fun. I really like that a lot. I think it's really cool as someone who's getting into anime recently to see series and stuff where I recognize voice actors working alongside each other once again that worked on other series. You know, I just think it's really cool, and I love that so much. That makes me happy to learn that, actually. But yeah, I don't trust this guy at all. I wouldn't trust him as far as I can throw him. He looks to be someone who's very selfish and only in it for himself. He doesn't seem to really be in it for the love of the game. He's just in it for maybe fame and glory and to be recognized as Hero X and stuff. But at the end of the opening, we see another feather fall on the throne, and that might be... You trust the pup? Absolutely. The pup does look adorable. I meant to point that out actually as I was going through it. The way this ending ends, where we see a feather falling on a throne. This is the throne that X was sitting on in the very beginning of the opening, or ending, sorry. So I expect that one of the others will take the role of X by the end of the series, because yeah, it kind of seems like those feathers were reminiscent of the other characters, and the fact it showed a character with this like blue thing going around his wrist, that would be my best bet as to who will take the throne, who will take the role of X to be Hero X. So if that character seems likely or not, I have no idea. They will be to be Hero X, absolutely. This was truly a to be Hero X is honestly going to be how the final episode of the series feels. But yeah, and this continues to be a series that looks really, really interesting, and honestly something that I would probably enjoy. Like, I don't know what kind of direction it goes, because we've seen no action whatsoever, so I don't know if it's super actiony or if it's more politics based or what, but it does look like a really fun one. It looks like It looks like a great time, and I hope that you guys watching it are enjoying it. The rating on Mal seems to indicate that most of you guys are really enjoying the series. I think it's second this season, only to Apothecary Diaries. But yeah, let's move on to the next one. Ending number 9, and see what we get in this next one. Here we go. All right, let's check out number 9. Here we go. Oh, shit. Oh shit, is this a... How to be ordinary? How to become ordinary? I love it. Yet again, kind of using real life imagery and stuff. Really sets the series apart in terms of openings and endings. This sounds very eerie, mysterious, and has me worried. Wow, look at those 3D rendered images. This is so fun and groovy. Wow, I wonder whose car that was that got featured. Oh, this is really nice. I love that this series is kind of trying to tell you that this is a very realistic series almost. So real that they're in the real world. It's like people do really experience the things that they experience. Maybe not the crime stuff, but you know, wanting to feel ordinary. I wanted more of that. I will definitely be listening to this one once I finish stream. This is a really great ending yet again. Once again, How to Become Ordinary, just doing amazing things. Really surprising me with just how great the opening was that we checked out. My favorite of the day, and this ending, like, definitely one of my favorites. I still think I might give it to Loser Ranger Reject, simply because I'm a sucker for the theme that they kind of went with that ending. But yeah, this is so good yet again. This is the ending for Shoshimin, How to Become Ordinary Season 2. The song is SugaRiddle by Yanaginagi. They should have got Suga, I don't know what his name is, from BTS to do this opening or ending. That would have been fun. Actually, he's probably in the army right now. I don't know how that shit works, the enrollment, I don't know. Wow, this was so good. I loved that it's kind of like blurring the lines between, you know, what's real, what isn't. It's showing real life imagery here, and then showing the characters inhabiting this world. Like, I know that the series is about like them, like, being like sleuths and stuff, and like there's like crimes and stuff that come about, all that, but if the main meat of this series is these two characters trying to fit in with everyone else and stuff, and really trying to like just belong, I think that showing this real life imagery and blurring the lines between anime and real life is really cool, because people do experience those feelings everywhere you go. Like, there's people in every country who feel like they don't belong, feel like they don't fit in, and just want to find their place in the world. And this series being one that tackles that idea and doing such a clever thing within the opening and ending, where they show different styles, show within this ending in particular real life imagery to kind of make it feel like this is real. This is stuff that people actually experience, stuff that people actually go through. I really do adore the way they're telling us that story, because yeah, I think that it's so well done. I think that the things that we see within this, where we see the characters inhabiting this world, we see them looking at each other and just like looking back and forth, going through life in the real world. I love this story. I love what's being told here. The finale for this series aired like an hour ago, and you're dying to get to it after the stream ends. Really, I apologize. I'll be waiting to hear how you feel about it. I hope that you enjoy it. I hope that this series is one that you really like, because the fact that the opening and ending we've seen for the series have been so good. This is honestly a series I really just hope the absolute best for. I hope that this is one that people love. as much as I've loved this opening and ending. Anime Janai, oh my god, holy shit, we're bringing it back. This is a really beautiful ending. I cannot like believe that this is a series I'd never heard of before. Like, just everything I see about this, the character designs, the eye colors, just the reflections, everything about this. I said it during the opening. So pristine, so crisp, so beautiful, and so like the detail, just everything is just like, I love it. I love how this looks so much. And so like, this is a series, like I said, I am really rooting for. Even as someone who has not watched it, I'm really rooting for this series. I hope that people enjoy it. I hope that season 3 comes, and I hope that people love it too, because this looks adorable. It looks so beautiful. It looks so creative, and everything just looks so well thought out and so well put together. It's amazing. That's exactly how they look in the series too. Holy shit. That's wild to me, because everything about it is amazing. I think it's really interesting as well that for the most part, anytime we see the girl character in this ending, she is in this red environment. Like when she's going down the stairs, it's red. When she's in this park, it's red. So it's almost telling me that she is in danger here this season. She is someone who needs to be saved. She's someone who needs to be protected. She is in the danger zone. She is not safe in this season whatsoever, because this is very ominous. This is not looking good for her. But then, you know, later on we do get to see scenes of her. It's going to take me a bit to find her, because a lot of this opening, or a lot of this ending, kind of shows a lot of scenery and stuff. But then we see her kind of walking towards a lake, and things aren't looking so scary for her. And as she's walking down, she turns and looks back. Like, oh my god, just like, look at this. Something about this is just reminding me of something else. Like, I feel like I said it last time as well, but the way they look and everything, it's reminding me, I know what it's reminding me of. It's reminding me of the post-apocalypse world anime, Daimakyo or something, Tengoku Daimakyo or something. Heavenly Delusion, that's the one. Yes, this really reminds me of Heavenly Delusion. I was thinking it reminded me of something familiar in the opening, but I wasn't able to think about it. And now it just came to me, like, all of a sudden I just got this brain blast where I was like, holy shit, it's Heavenly Delusion. Also maybe a little bit, but also not exactly, of Summer Rendering. I don't see it so much, but maybe the eyes and stuff from Summer Rendering kind of look like this and stuff. So yeah, overall, like, what I'm trying to say is this looks amazing. This looks like such a beautiful series, and yeah, I'd love to see how this actually looks in series. I know you say the characters look the same, but I'd love to see actual like anime backgrounds and stuff, because I don't know how the world looks of this series. I just know how the characters look at this point, and I think that that's really cool blurring of the lines within the opening and ending. The fact that we don't know, as people who only watch openings and endings, how the series actually looks. I think that that's a really clever tactic that they might have used here. I don't know if it was intentional. I don't know if it was on purpose. But yeah, beautiful. Beautiful is all I really have to say here. And yeah, of course, she does end up turning around and looking to see our main boy here. Or maybe she does. Maybe he's just watching her from a distance. Maybe that's the whole point here, where he looks out for her, he looks towards her, but she always seems to be someone who has her eyes set on something else. Like, I don't know if that's the case, where it's kind of like what I was saying for the Apothecary Diaries ending that we checked out this video, where that one girl always seems to be looking out towards something else. She looks like she has something else on her mind at all times, and he looks to be someone who always has her on his mind, and he's always looking out towards her or something like that. That's what I'm getting from these shots anyway. She is the danger. She is not the one who knocks. Opening up this box of chocolates, she looks so cute, so adorable. She looks like such a silly, fun character. And yeah, I love these characters so much. I don't know these characters, but I love them. I want them to be happy. I want them to become ordinary, if that's what they actually want by the end of the series. Maybe the point of the series is that they realize being ordinary is boring. It's not them, and they learn to be themselves. Maybe the whole point of the series is learn to be yourself, opposed to become ordinary. But yeah, whatever it is, I hope that we get more of this series in the future. I really thoroughly adore this series so much, and this has been a real treat to check out Shoshimin, How to Become Ordinary. But yeah, we're going to check out the final ending now. We're going to move on and see what we get in this next one. So here we go. Ending number 10, the final ending for this video. Let's go. Let's see what we get here. All right, let's see what this final ending has in store for us. I'm really excited to see what we get here. If you guys have enjoyed this video, please consider leaving a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And of course, comment down below, letting me know your favorite ending. Or maybe it was one of the openings that we checked out today. And yeah, I'd be excited to see which of these have been your favorite. Feel free to list a top 3, top 5, even top 10. List every single one if you want, and just let me know your favorites. It's always fun to check through all of that. And yeah, let's see what we get in this last one. Here we go. Is that Jewelry Bonnie? This feels so intense and so different from the opening. Oh, that's adorable. Aww. Oh, this is so cute. Damn, they really went all in with the Bonnie Kuma stuff here with the opening and ending. Wow, this is beautiful. Damn. Whoa, shit, that was cool looking. Wow, look at her. Oh. This looks stunning. Aww. Oh, there he is. Aww. That was really beautiful. I love that so much. Yeah, this directed by is it Ishitani? I feel like I'm really bad at remembering her name, but it definitely looks like her style again as always, and it's so stunning. It's so beautiful. I love how this looks so much. This section right here really caught me by surprise, but it looks stunning. This is not something I would have expected to see from One Piece whatsoever. But yeah, this is incredible looking, and yeah, this isn't directed by her really. It looks almost like her style though, no? I don't know, that just like the fluidity and the way characters are drawn and stuff. I honestly would have thought this was her. Not really, in your opinion? Well, that's fair. I'm really bad at these things, so I'll just put it down to that. But yeah, I love that this ending starts. Well, it really caught me off guard with this really hype beast kind of sound. Sorry, I'll just read the thing. This is the 24th ending for One Piece. The song is The One by muque, or muque. She did the Witch Watch opening, if you remember. Yeah, I do remember that, but I thought she maybe did double duty here or something. Yeah, I guess like her style is more rounded and stuff, but like something like these hands right here, it looks very like her. It looks like something she would have designed or something. I don't know. We're going to go back to the beginning. The way this started really caught me off guard. I wasn't expecting to hear this really like techno kind of like beat and sounded like, I don't know what you would call it, playing throughout this ending at all. Especially when the opening for this One Piece that accompanies this One Piece ending was so heartfelt and really spent a lot of time, you know, just showcasing the heart of the series and everything like that. It was really uplifting. This one, I wouldn't say isn't uplifting, but it's not uplifting at the same time. It's really an interesting song that maybe kind of is used to show the way Bonnie's heart is. Like, it's kind of like all over the place, and it's jumping from one place to another. Like, nothing sounds normal, or like it's just like intense, and it's probably, you know, to showcase the feelings, the thoughts, the heart of jewelry Bonnie and everything like that. You know, she's been through a lot in her short life, I would say. The OP animation was actually directed by Takashi Kojima, who also did, if you remember, way back when, the opening for Flip Flappers. That's a hard one to remember visuals for, but I do remember really being overwhelmed by how great the visuals looked. I can picture scenes, but I can't like picture it as well as I'd like to. But I do remember that opening looking stunning, and this opening once again is absolutely stunning. The direction by Takashi Kojima is incredible here. I think he did a great job, and I'll go through this ending a bit. I'll try my best not to give away too many spoilers, but I will talk about this a bit. You know, seeing her kind of standing with her back to us, I think that this is showing us the scene from the end of the ending, you know, where she's standing looking out towards Kuma. I think that it's kind of like once again, like the Apothecary Diaries ending that we checked out today, showing at the beginning and the end the same scene, perhaps, but with completely different lights. Where the beginning of both endings makes things look really sad, whereas the ending of both endings makes things look hopeful. You know, where with Apothecary Diaries, it looked like she's by herself. In One Piece, it looks like she's by herself with this grainy grey filter, everything, no colour in the world whatsoever. Whereas in Apothecary Diaries, we see that she's surrounded by her friends, and at the end of this One Piece ending, we see that she's looking towards Kuma, and things look very hopeful, things look very positive, with colour in the world and everything like that. I think that if that is the case, if they're kind of doing similar things where they show the start and the end, but showing different lights, showing how that changes, you know, perception and everything, I think that they've done a great job here. I love what they did here so much. I'll go through this a bit more and see what else I can pick out. Oh yeah, this style right here, this looks very Gachakuda. Like, this looks literally like a Gachakuda character. I can't remember her name, but it's, well, the hair is different, but the face, the eyes, everything like that, it looks just like the that one character, the girl character in Gachakuda. Forgive me for not remembering her name. It's been a while since I've read anything from it, but yeah, this is such a fun look. I love the neon look and everything. It's really fun. It's very playful, and you know, seeing Bonnie like this, the way she's looking at Kuma, it makes her look, it almost is kind of like a child's drawing or something like that. And if that is the case, I love it, especially with the scratchy background. It's almost like, you know, those pieces of paper you can get where you can scratch. It's like graphite or something. Makes like a color where you scratch off and stuff, and you can make drawings out of that. Like, it's kind of making me think of that, but it's also reminding me of like, I could be wrong here, but it's almost like a Bocchi the Rock ending or something, where you see characters in frames and stuff on either side of the screen. It's just like different like endings and stuff that have done stuff like this. Nothing's really coming to mind, so forgive me for that, but you know, like where, you know, you see characters in frames and it's just like kind of bouncing back and forth between the two. And then this look for Kuma is so funny. It's so adorable, and it really just showcases, despite the fact that his head is built like a Minecraft character here in this shot, it really goes to showcase how good of a person he is. Like, he looks so happy, he looks so full of positive energy. He's looking at Bonnie with like the most beautiful smile. Like, I don't know how else to describe that. It just looks so nice. Like, it looks like he's really just such a good person who wants to see good things for Bonnie here. He's looking at her with so much positivity, and he doesn't look as much like a Gachakuda character. I guess this making me think of this because of like the three different circles in the eyes, whereas he's only got, you know, the normal amount and stuff. Kuma, what a great character. I don't know what I can say without spoiling, but yeah, just the way it's showing them all like happy and stuff, and it's adorable. And then seeing this little shot right here where he's inside the paw, that's really cute, and it's a really creative decision here. I think it's really fun. But then we cut to these kind of shots, and I'm gonna have to go through this slowly because I don't know what this hawk represents. Maybe like predator, a predator, and then, you know, seeing a young Bonnie with red hair, that's interesting, holding out little, I don't know what these flowers are. Is this like forget-me-nots or something like that? I'm sure that these flowers have some sort of symbolic meaning. I wish I could tell you though. shading. Yeah, maybe that is it. The danger of the world. This shot is like reminded me of like a shot from, I think it was an opening or ending of Undead Unluck. I feel like we saw a very similar shot within that. I can't remember if it was an opening or ending though. That's just the nature of the world, you know, these things happen. But then, you know, we get this really strange shot here. I don't know if this is like a young Kuma reaching out, you know, back when all that stuff was going down. I'm sure it's been shown in the anime by now, but like the God's Valley incident, I imagine this is what this is kind of showing, like Kuma during the God Valley incident. Everything about this is stunning. This looks so incredibly well detailed. Like the sea, the ocean, whatever it is, the fish, everything is so beautiful. And I just love how this looks so much. Seeing Kuma here kind of like in the bones of, is it like a wheel or something? Like, I don't know what this is, but it's really strange. Like, I don't know what this is. It looks like he's trapped anyway in like the bones of a wheel. I don't know what that's symbolic of. But then, of course, Vegapunk reaching out in disbelief and just like falls to his knees about the whole thing. And see, this is where things get tricky, where I don't know if I'm going to be talking spoilers regarding Vegapunk and Kuma's relationship, because I don't know if that's been covered yet. But the nature of their relationship is also very tragic. It's very sad. I love that we get that little scene here within this ending, because it goes to show just like the nature of things, how characters feel and everything regarding like things that have been done and things that have happened. There will be 2 episodes into them meeting by the time this video is out. Okay, I still feel iffy because I don't know if like what I might say might be spoilers, but you guys watching this will understand what I'm referring to, where I'm talking about like the nature of their relationship and just the way things are and everything, and Vegapunk's hubris being like a huge, you know, factor in all of this. But yeah, seeing a poor like child Bonnie here bawling her eyes out, seeing an adult Bonnie watching this whole scenario play out here, where Bonnie is learning about what happened. You know, Bonnie is learning the truth about everything, and yeah, it's a lot for her to learn all in one go, but like it makes for one of the most tragic arcs and beautifully well written arcs. I say that, but granted, I haven't been reading One Piece for very long, so maybe this is biased because this is the first time the series really did twist my feelings while I was reading. Everything that I experienced was through the anime, so maybe this is biased speaking, but this for me is one of the most heartbreaking flashbacks and one of the saddest ones that I have experienced anyway. It is one of the series' best. I'm glad you say that, because I feel like me saying this is very recency bias, so I take my opinion with a grain of salt, but you know, you can take Pinecino's with a whole handful of salt here, because you know, he has been following the series for a decade plus at this point. I love seeing the visual style of this. It's so beautiful, and seeing these kind of shots here, like I don't really know what this really represents, but it's stunning. It's kind of like Bonnie not really opening her eyes to look out. She's kind of like, you can see the sadness in her face, and she's looking out, and eventually she closes her eyes and she just almost can't accept it. It's almost like she goes into this dreamscape then, where she starts to see Kuma, and this is where the ending ends then, where she's walking towards this hill looking down towards him, and it's really beautiful. It's incredibly well detailed. I love the look of this ending. I love the song so much. It's a beautiful ending, and one that really just captures the feelings of this ending and this arc, this part of the series so well. And I think it's so cool to see that they focus so much on this, and it's the animators knew how big this arc was going to be, because they really went all in with the Bonnie Kuma stuff. You know, there's merch out, there's the advertising, like posters for the series returning, I believe, was Kuma Bonnie related. The opening and ending Bonnie Kuma related. Whereas, like, if you go back to even as far as Wano, the opening, sure, some of the openings do show Odin, but not like this. It's not the whole opening. It's not a whole ending. They knew that this was going to be a really big arc. And I'm so glad to see them give this arc the attention, the love that it deserves, because yeah, I'm sure you guys watching the series are really loving this arc already, and it doesn't slow down. It gets better and better, and things continue. I love this arc with an absolute passion, and yeah, I'm glad that we were able to check this one out today. And yeah, I feel like that's maybe all I have to say about this. One Piece continues to be on top. We love One Piece on this channel. I love One Piece. I am really far behind in the One Piece anime. I have not seen anything since before. Even before it went on hiatus, I was a little behind. So I'm really behind. So I don't know what they're doing in the anime right now. But yeah, thanks for watching, you guys. I hope that you enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe. And comment down below, both thanking Pinecino for another incredible list. And also let me know your favorite that was in this list today. That's probably going to do it for me for today. I hope that you guys enjoyed. I hope that you're having a great day today and that you're able to take it easy. I will see you in the next one. Take care.